Speaking of Stephen King, that you mentioned just now, I was just curious if you knew about his new marketing gimmick, his new book, Under the Dome.
No, I don't.
He's divided the book into over 5,000 different parts, and he's hidden them all over the internet, sort of like little Easter eggs for his readers. And basically, he's encouraging people to go out and find these bits of the book and assemble them on his forum. So you're talking about publishing on the web and stuff. Do you think like sort of gimmicks like this are integral to like the new sort of marketing that writers are going to have to do?
No.
No?
Sorry, I wish I could go. Yes, I do. And no, I don't. I think it's a gimmick, but it's the same gimmick that you would do 30 years ago when we announced that Stephen King's new book is 1,000 pages long, and they've taken one edition of that and hidden one page all over. Each major city in the world has all 1,000 pages hidden, and you can start your going and finding it game. It's the same thing. That's not something that says, aha, here is the web. I did a marketing gimmick for the Graveyard Book, which I enjoyed doing enormously. I'm so proud that I did, made my life incredibly easy, and was fundamentally web-specific, which was, instead of doing a signing tour for the Graveyard Book, I did a reading tour. And I went to 9 cities and read a chapter in each city, except for Chapter 7, which was too long. So I read half of it in LA and half of it in Denver. And each morning, the video from the night before would be up on the web, and it's been up now ever since. So if you're curious, or you can't afford the book or whatever, you can watch or listen to me read the entire book on the web for free. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a marketing gimmick, but it's also something that makes me incredibly happy, and it's something that existed for the web and could not have existed without the web. So that is just something where I figure it adds to the sum total of human happiness, and it means that anyone who is curious about my book can go and taste it. Yeah, I'm not going to make you. You can try it before you buy it. Go. You can watch. You can try the whole thing. You can go and watch me in video reading the whole of the Graveyard Book, and that I think is the kind of thing that could only occur on the web and was fun to do with the web. But I don't think that having something that is, beyond that, you're into marketing gimmicks. That's like saying that thing where they brought out a book, and if you correctly solved every puzzle in it, you found a golden hair buried somewhere in England, and that was very popular. Is that the future? Or will all books from now on have to have a buried object somewhere and clues to it? And the answer is no, obviously not. That was one book.
There are a lot of fantasy writers, though, who almost feel kind of embarrassed and distance themselves from the genre. How do you feel about the stereotype that a lot of fantasy writers, or sci-fi writers, for instance, like Margaret Atwood, she's taken great pains to distance herself from the sci-fi genre. Like, how do you feel about writers who are embarrassed about their bread and butter, the core base of their fans?
Actually, I think your two questions are incredibly similar because they're both about marketing gimmicks. And Margaret Atwood writing science fiction novels and making sure that her entire press campaign and interviews and speeches for each of her science fiction novels is why my science fiction novel is not science fiction is a marketing gimmick. She does not want to be on those shelves, and I've actually been there with Margaret Atwood, who I like. I think she's a nice, very smart woman and a very good writer. But I was in Norway with her, and we were both talking to the press together, and I was talking about Coraline, and she was talking about Oryx and Crake. And there was a point where she explained to the press that obviously her book was not science fiction, because her book is based on real science, but science fiction writers make it all up. And you're going, no, they don't. What do you think? They buy their copies of New Scientist. Lots of them are scientists. Lots of them, there's a whole genre that what is called hard science fiction is based on, where do you think idea fairies come in the night and say, whoa, jetpacks? It's not like that. But it is necessary for Margaret to explain to the world that she is not a science fiction writer. If I could be bothered, I would absolutely explain to you now that no, I am not a fantasy writer. I'm a magical realist, and you need to come to terms with this, or whatever. But the truth is, I love genre, and I love ghettos. And I didn't start out in the gutter. I started out in comics before they were hip and cool and were called graphic novels, which isn't the gutter. We used to look up to the gutter. It's like the drain way below the gutter. We could see the guttering up there and go, oh, it must be so nice to live in the gutter and be taken serious. You know, maybe one day I'll climb up this rope and I'll reach the gutter. So I am sort of the other way round. I'm somebody who people say, well, no, what Gaiman writes is not fantasy because it has no princesses and swords and things. I'm going, well, sure it is. Yeah, it is if you want it to be. And I love it when I get described as a sci-fi writer or a horror writer or a children's writer or what anything. But I also love the fact that people are now starting to give up in sort of embarrassment at trying to say, well, he's this kind of writer, because then they go, but he did this, this, and this. And there was something recently online where they were talking about you, and some English newspaper, the NME or something, said, and Amanda Palmer, who is going out with writing Renaissance man Neil Gaiman or whatever, and I thought, no, I like that. You know, they've just given up on the whole. So yeah, he does. Oh God, he does stuff, and I'd like to be oh God, he does stuff writer. So.